Hello, lovely ones. I did promise to come to you tonight again live as we do on a Sunday. I have to tell you that it is sizzling hot. I know it was probably very hot last time we got together on the channel, but tonight's even hotter. So, wow, I'm on the other side of my usual spot tonight. And let me know when you come in, if you join us, if you can see me, if you can hear me well. Let's hope the technology works well. I'm going to do that. Oh, that's better. Yes. Okay. So I have some co-presenters this evening. These beautiful blue agapanthus South African flowers that I have in the house at the moment, and all the lovely blue hydrangeas. It's a blue evening. I've got a blue dress on, blue and white. And behind me are more hydrangeas up here. I think you can see them. So this is the time of year when I adore hydrangeas, have always loved them and always will love them. I have to have this huge light, otherwise you can't see me, and I can't obviously do the vlog if you can't see me, but hopefully I will survive the hot light and we can have our usual life. So just some housekeeping, as I always do when we start. When you come in, could you please go and like the video immediately? People often say, oh, sorry, I just forget. It makes a huge difference in engagement. So let me explain. The algorithm in YouTube recognizes those likes and will suggest my videos to more people and perhaps to you if it's a subject that you like. Even if you already subscribed, please go and like the video. It's crucial. It's just a like. You can do it right now. You can go right now. Go and press that like button. While you're watching any of my videos or anybody that you support on YouTube, you can literally just click on my face or touch on my face on your tablet or your screen where you're watching, and automatically YouTube acknowledges that touch as an engagement. So I need this blog, which was started during lockdown in the pandemic, to be successful, and I have come back to doing lives because that's what everyone asked me to do, but I need your engagement, I need your help. So I'm asking you, please, can you go like the video right now? If you haven't subscribed, please think about subscribing. It makes a world of difference. So without any more ado, let's get to tonight's vlog. So somebody has already come in, Havana Blast. Hi, ciao. Let me know exactly where you're joining from. And as Havana has done, just say hi and tell me the city you're joining from, and then I can acknowledge you. And if you want to ask a question, I'll try and get to it during the live stream. Thanks. So thanks for joining. And by the way, if you can't join us because it's not a good time for you, it'll be available immediately on replay. You can watch it as any normal video as soon as the live stream ends. So if you find that you come midway or you come at the end and you think, oh goodness, I've lost out, don't worry, you can just watch the whole thing back as a normal video. Okay, so having done that, so tonight what I wanted to talk to you about, I just need to actually put these on because I do want to see what everybody's saying down there without having to scrunch forward. So as those of you who joined the live last week, which was our first week of being back and talking about the subjects that we always have done when we get together, and people join from everywhere, from Canada, from the States, from Africa, from UK, from all over Europe, from Australia, from New Zealand. We always have a good old chat about what's going on, sometimes about my life in Italy because people are interested or they themselves would like to live in Italy, and sometimes just about what's going on in the world. Excuse me with the fan, but it is incredibly hot. It's 35 degrees today, literally indoors. I find that this not Dior, I'm talking nonsense, it's Chanel. is a treat spray that I got myself years ago when I traveled. It's Octante. And I know I used to do lots of perfume brews, but tonight I'm just going to give myself a spritz. So, it's a face mist with that lovely Chanel Entendre fresh fragrance, and it just, you can just mist your face with it when it's really hot. So I'm not being paid to say that. I just thought I would give myself a spritz because it's super hot. I have to have this bright light, so I'll be a sweaty butterball. Anyway, let's get to it. What happened? So last week, we had a lovely chat on the blog. You can go back and watch it. It's on my channel now. You can just go under the live section and you can watch back that video. It's also under my favorites. We had a lovely chat, and it was our first time back doing the live blog for a while this summer. And when I was finished, I had my usual chores to do in the house. And Sunday night is always recycling day. So I had to put out the glass, the plastic, the cardboard, you know how it is. And also the organic matter, which here in Italy, we pay a fee. Each household pays a fee, as most people do in the world. We pay a fee, and our recycling is collected from outside our door. We pay an annual fee to the municipality, and I definitely every week have recycling and the organic matter to put out. The organic matter is normally picked up, and it's used to make compost for the gardens in the town, or they use it for whatever they use it for, the compost. So anyway, that's what I was doing when we finished the vlog and I published it and it all went out on Instagram or whatever. I went to sort this out. Now, let me just backtrack a little bit. Last week was pretty chronic because I had to get a plumber in because the sink in the kitchen, which the dishwasher is attached to, suddenly became very slow and wasn't draining properly. And horror of horrors, it always happens on a Sunday. Doesn't it happen on a Sunday? Drop down in the chat and let me know if you've ever had to call a plumber on a Sunday. It's something you dread because, first you can't find them, and if it's really an emergency, lucky I could just live with the slow drain. And he was going to come on the Monday, and the Monday he couldn't come, and eventually came on the Wednesday, and then it was Thursday. And anyway, when he was down there underneath the sink fiddling with the pipes, the tubes, to get them operating properly, he dismantled everything. There was water everywhere. I spent the whole week in the steaming heat in Italy, mopping up floors and cleaning up the mess that he made, but I needed my plumbing to work. Okay, so he eventually went off, and underneath the sink there was a pull-out kind of bin on a sort of I suppose you would call it a frame that allowed it to slide back and forth, and that was the plastic receptacle where you would stuff all your plastic in there. And the bin was under the sink, so theoretically it was out of the way. I always found it a bit cumbersome because it was literally taking up all the space under the sink. We normally like to put your cleaning products or whatever you put under your sink. But anyway, it was there when I came to the apartment, so I thought, okay, I'll live with it. And then he said to me, why don't you take this out, because I can't get in here properly to work on the tubes, and it may be that this thing is actually moving the tubes slightly. So I said, okay, fine, take it out. And he did. He unscrewed it, whatever. It had its bracket. A bracket is the right word, a metal bracket, and the bin. So I put it by the door, thinking that when I took out the recycling after our vlog last Sunday, I would take it down and I would, put it down in the garage because I didn't need it. So I was going to put it in storage. Anyway, as I finished our lovely vlog last week, I stepped out to look at what recycling needed to be put out that Monday. It was exactly this week last week this time. And as I did that, I tripped over this bin, which was by the front door, waiting to go downstairs, and tripped over the bracket, which is a metal bracket. Yeah, I'm not terribly clumsy. I guess I could be classed as sometimes clumsy, aren't all of us? But anyway, I wasn't even looking at it because I was busy looking at the calendar to see what recycling was scheduled for that Monday, because sometimes it changes. And I tripped over this thing and it literally penetrated into my shin. It went right into my shin, quite deep, right up to the bone. I'm sorry to have such graphic explanation, but I need to tell you what happened. And immediately I saw the blood. So immediately I could see, I looked down and there was a cut this long. And it was right to the bone. It was literally like walking into a knife, if you can imagine that. It was very sharp metal, and of course not clean metal. It was probably a bit rusty, and the bracket is certainly not something you want penetrating your shin. Anyway, I immediately looked down and I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to need stitches. And I was all alone here. It was nearly midnight by the time I'd finished wrapping up the vlog, answering some comments and posting on Facebook and Instagram, which I normally do with the vlog. It was about midnight. It was just lovely. All the doors were open. The cool air was coming in. I had had a gorgeous Sunday. I'd managed to resolve the plumbing thing, and I'd just done that lovely vlog with us together, and now I had literally blood squirting everywhere out of my leg. It had never happened if I think back, the last time I think I had something that punctured my leg or anything was when I was a child. I mean, yeah, it's been a long time. As you can see, I'm no longer a child. Anyway, so I thought, what am I going to do? And this horrible cold feeling of panic came over me, because I thought, I have to go to A&E. I have to get this stitched. It's midnight. We all know what Sunday night is like in A&E after midnight. So I was going to arrive there at about 1 o'clock, but I didn't have time for that. I panicked and I ran around trying to find something to stem the blood. I made a wad of cotton. And I put pressure on it to stem the blood so it wasn't spraying everywhere, and running around like a headless chicken. And then I thought, no, I must be calm, otherwise I'm going to bleed even more and it's not going to help me, and I'm going to fall over something while I'm looking for whatever. Anyway, it was pretty pointless putting a plaster or a dressing on it, because I had to stem the blood. So anyway, I got that. I managed to get a sock out of the sock drawer, put the sock over the wad of cotton that was stemming the blood. I put pressure on it for quite a bit, and then I had to get my phone and phone an ambulance, because the local hospital is about a 15 or 20-minute drive. It's not right across the road. There is a small little hospital here in my town in Arona, but I had to go to a nearby town to the big teaching hospital, and that's where our accident and emergency is. So I had to call an ambulance. So I did. Called them. They were quite nice. Thank goodness I speak fluent Italian, because I can't imagine what it is to be a foreigner and try and make yourself understood to people who often, obviously, don't all speak English for obvious reasons. They live here, so they can speak their own language. They don't automatically just have to speak English for us. And they were very nice, and they said, okay, we'll put you through, because when you call the emergency number 112 in Italy, it puts you through to a responder who will ask you, do you want police, ambulance, whatever? And I said immediately, ambulanza. Anyway, they toggled me through to the ambulance people. I explained my age, what had happened briefly and whatever. And they said, okay, we're going to send an ambulance. Can you walk? And I said, well, hopefully, yeah. I'll meet you downstairs, because I didn't want them to have to get the access code, come up the lift, bring the trolley up, and it would have been a lot quicker for me just to go down in the lift, meet them at the gate, at the access gate. So that's what I did. I hobbled downstairs with this huge wad on my shin, panicking and thinking, have I remembered? Grabbed my handbag, hoped that I had my phone and my charger, whatever, because I didn't know how long I'd be in accident and emergency. And I didn't have anybody to say, hey, can you bring me a phone or something? I grabbed a bottle of water. Anyway, got downstairs. They were there to meet me. Two lovely men, the driver and the guy who joined me in the back of the ambulance. And they took my Carta Sanitaria. In Italy, we have a health card like most countries do. And he started to ask me what the story was. And he said, is it painful? Is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I said, it's about 7. It was pretty painful by now. Initially, it was just, not painful, but it was getting pretty painful because it started swelling. And of course, I was really worried about infection because, it was a dirty bracket that had pierced my leg. Anyway, we arrived at ambulance and emergency in the ambulance at the door, pronto soccorso, as it's called in Italy, emergency. And I was taken in on the gurney, and they immediately explained to the reception there, what the story was and whatever. And they immediately have to categorize you. It goes from verde, green is the least, or I think white is the very least. That's just you walking in because you've got flu and you shouldn't be there. Then there's green, then there's yellow, and then I think it goes up to orange. And then, obviously, if you come in on a major accident from a car crash or whatever and your life's in danger, then you have the top priority. But they coded me yellow, I think I was coded yellow. Anyway, it was pretty empty, thank goodness. There were about 4 people hanging around. It wasn't a huge queue because I have been once before in an ambulance in the province of Como where I had a heart issue and went in, and that was pretty much a nightmare. It was a packed accident and emergency, and I waited hours before they could get a cardiologist to see me. Anyway, long story short, I sat there for a while. I plugged my phone in. Thank goodness I thought to check my charger in my bag. And the guy was really pleasant. And he said, yeah, sure, you can plug it in here and whatever. And soon enough, they came to call me. And I was taken through to the doctor and 3 nurses, and they immediately started to clean up, asked me what happened, whatever. The biggest concern, of course, was anti-tetanus. I had to have an anti-tetanus jab. And I don't know if you're like me, but I absolutely can't stand injections. You can do anything. You could chop my leg off. My dentist always says I'm the calmest person. He wishes all his clients were like me because I just freeze. The truth of the matter is I'm absolutely terrified, so I just freeze and I just take myself mentally to another place. And so she said to me, I don't want to give you a local because I have a heart arrhythmia, and sometimes local anesthetic can react to my long QT, which is a condition that a hereditary condition that I have, which doesn't give me many issues because I manage it. But she said, I don't want to give you the local, so would you just mind if we just use some ice for me to stitch it and clean it? And I said, yeah, whatever, go for it. And she commented, wow, you're so calm. And so they cleaned it up. They just put ice on it. I didn't have any local anesthetic injected. And she was very nice and very efficient. And she stitched it up, put 3 stitches, and I literally barely felt them going in. It was amazing. She was so good. And yeah. And the next thing she said, okay, we're going to have to give you 2 injections, 1 here, 1 here. And then you're going to have the follow-up booster for tetanus. Because I hadn't had a tetanus jab for 10 years, probably even 20 years, or maybe even more, 30, I can't remember. It's been a long time. So I had to have that, the 2 boosters, and in 8 weeks' time, I've got to go to my normal doctor, my GP, and have a booster, in 8 weeks. So I'll have to have 2 more of those nasty injections. My arm was incredibly painful immediately on this side, both sides. I already have a sore sort of shoulder, so it was pretty much a nightmare. And then came the problem that all the ways for me to get home, in other words, the ambulance can't take you home. They can take you in, but they can't take you home. Generally, you would have somebody to come and pick you up. I didn't have anybody to come pick me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would never have done that to any of my friends. And so I said, well, just get a taxi, or I'll call the Red Cross and you pay them. I think it's €35 to take you home. They said, yes, but you can't do that until 7 o'clock in the morning. So I said, oh, goodness me. Am I going to sit in the chair? And they said, no, we'll give you a bed. You can lie down and relax because you've had a very stressful evening. And, you can, and at 7 o'clock, then we will help you call the Red Cross to take you back home, and you will get a bill for it. So I said, okay, no, that's great. So they very kindly pushed me into an area where there were 3 others of us with a curtain between. I started to think, oh my goodness, a few minutes ago, I was sitting, enjoying all my fans on my vlog, having a good old chat about Italy and the summer and what my plans were. And here I am now in accident and emergency, all stitched up with this huge bandage on my leg. And yeah, it was hot. Anyway, I couldn't get the bed to go down. It was in that position. And I tried as hard as I could to sort of look at my phone, send some messages to family just to say, don't worry, I'm in A&E, but nothing terrible happened. I hate telling family stuff that they can't do anything about. They're far away, and it doesn't really make any difference to them except to ruin their night and spoil everything. So it was about 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I sent these messages. So they would have got them when they woke up, and most of them saw it at 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, I'd already called an ambulance. So I spent quite a fitful night. I didn't sleep a wink, obviously. And then at about 6 o'clock, I hadn't eaten a thing. So my tummy was grumbling, but I thought it better not to try and eat something random from some vending machine. Not a good idea, since I'm doing keto and I'd rather not eat anything with carbs in it. Anyway, I managed. I just had my bottle of water, and then I called a friend who does a service, who usually takes me to appointments if I have to go to the hospital. And so I called him at about 7, and he said, oh, I'm just taking someone to dialysis. So then when I'm finished, I'll come back and get you. He said, you can just wait outside at about 8:30. So that was all pleasant and smooth. I must say the staff were all lovely. The doctor who stitched me up, all the nurses, they were kind. They were very patient. A couple of them said, oh, but you were also kind and you were a lovely patient, which is quite nice to hear. I try not to be a pain in the neck. But, we have accidents sometime. And I must say that I would have given them probably 10 out of 10 for how they handled my situation. And I was very grateful. And then I was home by 8:30. And now I've still got these stitches in here. The bad part of this is that I adore swimming. And if you watched me last week and you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I started an exercise program about 2 months ago. I've always loved lake swimming. I love wild swimming. And I swim every day in the lake for an hour. I walk there, which is about 6 kilometers. So that's my program. And I need to keep on it so I can lose my extra kilos that I put on during the winter. And it's going pretty well, I must say. And thank you for all your lovely messages sent last week and all your encouragement. But I can't swim. I can't swim because I have the stitches in, and my doctor's away. She's on holiday like most Italians at the moment. And so she'll be back, I think, within about 3 weeks. So she has a substitute. So probably he will take my stitches out in about 5 days' time. Yeah, because they have to be in for 10 days. So anyway, the annoying thing is I had to walk down to my beach where I normally swim. There's a lifeguard there, and since I do this every day, him and I normally have a chat about how my program's going, and we have a little catch up on life. And I went for my walk. I couldn't swim, and he said, "Oh, why you're late today? And yesterday you didn't come." And I said, "Well, because." I told him the story, and he said, "Oh, goodness, what a pity." Anyway, so I'm going to have to play catch up. But let's get to the funny part. So I had to have showers. So when it's this hot, and you can see how hot it is, I mean, I've got a bright light shining on me, otherwise I probably wouldn't need the fan. But my garden outside, which I just watered all the tomatoes and the roses and whatever, I'll do a video sometime this week to update you. It's dark already, so showing you the progress on my tomatoes. There is a little video I put up, but I'm going to do another one of the roses all blooming and my tomatoes and my peppers that are loving this heat, of course. But I have to water them twice a day. But I need a shower, and usually I'll have 3 or 4 cold showers when it's really hot. I don't know if you love a cold shower, but I love a cold shower. And I thought about this, and then I tried to get in the shower and just leave my leg. My leg was sort of stretched out of the shower. I had my head under the shower, the cold shower, shampooing my hair. Oh, my goodness. And all the water ran my legs. So I had to change all the dressing, whatever. And it didn't occur to me, perhaps I need catch-up lessons in gravity, that the water, even if I stuck my leg out of the shower, would run down my leg, of course. But then a friend sent me a message saying you can get these special dressings, these special plasters, they're completely waterproof, and they enable you to shower, to swim, whatever. So if you know about this, and any of you have been in my position, I'm sure many of you have at some time or other had some disaster happen to you with stitches or a wound that you had or an operation, and you needed to shower, please let me know, because I really would love to go and get this special plaster. My son was telling me today that he has had one because he has had various operations, and obviously he's used these plasters, but I don't know what they're called in Europe or whatever. So please drop down in the comments or drop down in the chat now and let me know. If you want to leave a comment and you watch this back after we've gone off the live stream, please do. I appreciate all the comments, all the questions, all your lovely encouragement. It really makes it so much more of a pleasure to know that you've watched and you've enjoyed what we chatted about. If you come in halfway and you missed the crux of what just passed in the last 15 minutes, don't worry, you can watch the whole video on playback immediately. As soon as the live chat's over, you can watch the whole video as a normal videos, and you can leave me a comment, and you can subscribe. Of course, I'd love you to do that. So let's get to the crux of what the vlog is going to be about in the next years. So I told you last week that I was going in a new direction, and one of the new directions is that I decided at this tender age that I am, that I have got to start looking after my health. I think I've always been pretty healthy. I've been fortunate. I've always loved walking. I used to love mountain walking, hiking. I just told you that I absolutely love wild swimming. I've always swum in Lago Maggiore, which is one of my favorite lakes. But having lived in Lake Como for 20 years in Italy, I always swam up the top. I knew all the sort of private little swimming beaches, because you can't swim in the city of Como, obviously, it's polluted, but I knew all the little spots, and I adored Como for many years, but also came regularly in summer to swim in Lago Maggiore with friends of mine who lived here. So I'm living here now for the past 18 months. And so, yes, so let's talk about this program, and perhaps you can send me some tips, and perhaps you can send me your experience of how this happened to you. So I've always been able to maintain a healthy weight, even after menopause, even through my 40s, 50s. Obviously, I've had two children, so, it changes your figure slightly, but I've always had a flat tummy and always been able to maintain and basically been able to eat all the lovely Italian food, the pizza, pasta, whatever, obviously with some, portion control or whatever. But suddenly I discovered from watching some really good videos of one of the top doctors in the States, who's a cardiologist, but also has, consulted to many people on heart health and diabetes and all the what they call the chronic diseases. I suddenly started to understand that I'd become a little bit insulin resistant because I literally started to do intermittent fasting about 2 years ago during, whenever the pandemic was on. I was at home, I was sitting a bit more than usual. I still walked, I did my normal 6K walk, but perhaps I was eating a bit more than normal because I was at home a bit more. You know how it was. Those of you who worked from home in the pandemic and were fortunate enough to work from home and not have to go out, because of course some people had to, their job demanded it. But I noticed that my weight started to creep up, and so I started intermittent fasting. It's always worked for me. And I started always my first meal at 12 o'clock in the day. I've never really been a breakfast person. And I've always found that if I have a cappuccino or a croissant or whatever at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, when I feel the urge, that as soon as I eat that first thing, and if it's carbohydrate and sugar, which normally things are for breakfast, that I would immediately get hungry within half an hour. You would have the peak, and then I'd get hungry, and then I'd just eat nonstop. And so intermittent fasting suited me very well because I just pushed everything back 12 hours. So my last meal would be like, 8 o'clock at night, the night before, and then at 12 o'clock the following day, I would have my first meal, maybe an avocado when I got to being where I didn't want to eat carbohydrate more and did more keto, or I would have some scrambled egg and just not have the toast or whatever. And that was working pretty well. And I dropped those extra kilos and everything was great. And I started to feel very healthy and continued with my 6-kilometer walks and my swimming, my regular swimming and all of that. I hope you can see me on this very, very bright light. Perhaps I can take it away slightly. I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but it's quite hot. And so that's how it started. And now I've progressed because I noticed, because I've been tested a couple of times for my blood sugar. I'm not pre-diabetic, but I could be on the edge, and I'm not diabetic. But many people fall into this as they get older because one of the complicating factors is that plaque in your veins, in your arteries, to be precise, was always thought to be caused by a rich diet, high cholesterol, whatever. But it has been proven without doubt that, a high processed diet of, carbohydrates and sugars actually causes this plaque. Anyway, so far, I don't have any terrible news to give you on the plaque front, but started this idea that since the since the intermittent fasting had worked quite well, that I needed to exercise, because what I have discovered, and maybe you have too, is as you get a bit older, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can eat and you can maybe cheat once a week or whatever, but you can never outrun or outwalk or out exercise a bad diet. You just can't. So this is what I've learned. I guess I've always known this. So I had already cut out carbs out of my life. Occasionally, I would have a tiny little bit of rice. I learned a trick that if you put it, when you cook it, if you put it in the freezer and then you unfreeze it, it actually changed the structure of the carbohydrate. So that's a good tip for you. But, you know, generally rice salad in summer is quite nice in Italy because you don't really feel like eating much. But anyway, so, and then now I have progressed to OMAD. What is OMAD? OMAD is 1 meal a day. And it is so hot at the moment that really drinking water, and by the way, this is not a gin and tonic. This is just water with ice cubes in it, but I desperately need it. A couple of years ago, I bought everybody for Christmas these ice cubes, which are rather lovely, because if you get home, and you've ever got home and you need to pour some wine for people and it's not properly chilled, you can just pop a few of these ice cubes in their drink, and mine are color coded, so everyone has a different color, and it means that the wine is lovely and chilled, and you can serve wine to your guests without a problem. So tonight it's just chilled water. It's not gin and tonic, unfortunately. So what I discovered is in summer, going back to the 1 meal a day, that I was drinking an enormous amount, which is good. Watermelon is quite a good refreshing thing. It has lots of electrolytes and potassium and magnesium, stuff that you need when you're hot and sweaty. And so, yeah, and one needs to pay attention. I need to pay attention to potassium and magnesium levels. And I started to take vitamin D, vitamin K, supplement those. And I started to supplement some B vitamins, and that's what I do every day. So I take my magnesium and potassium supplements. I take my vitamin K, vitamin D, and yes, and it has made an enormous difference to my energy, how I feel, and to get rid of those sort of clingy. You know, the most dangerous thing is the spare tire we have as we. I mean, you know, it's not always age related, but you know, it's definitely more of a factor the older you get. I have always been pear shaped, you know, had more hips than tummy. But what can happen as you go towards your 60s is that you develop an apple shape, and the apple shape is very dangerous because the tummy, mine's gone down quite a bit in the last weeks, which I'm happy about. The tummy should not be apple shaped because that is visceral fat, and visceral fat goes around your organs. It's deposited around your organs. Subcutaneous fat, like your legs, the top of your thighs, your knees, and you know, cellulite, that's not so dangerous because unfortunately the visceral fat around your tummy, around your organs, that is metabolically active. It's not just fat that's deposited, which means that the extra calories you ate are stored there by your body, because our bodies are constantly, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, I'm just telling you what's worked for me and why I started my new program. So if you find anything useful in this, fine. If you feel you'd rather listen to your doctor's advice, please do, don't listen to me. I'm simply telling you what happened to me. And so I started to think to myself, I don't want to develop this tummy. I don't want to have visceral fat around my organs. I want to go back to feeling, fit and enjoying my food. And so I started doing OMAD, and I've been doing OMAD now for 3 weeks, and I'll let you know how it goes. So other things that have been happening is while I've been feeling wonderful and, of course, tripping over things and going to accident and emergency, I have so enjoyed my daily swim. I have so enjoyed my gentle exercise because I walk. In winter, of course, when I don't swim, I walk up the hill. I'm very lucky where I live because I can be rural within 15 minutes. So I live in a lovely apartment in the historical center of the town, but within 15 minutes walking up the hill, I'm in a forest. I'm in a natural forest. I've got the lake all. I'm looking down on the lake. I'm incredibly fortunate that I live in nature. It was a choice I made some years ago to leave city life or even rural life near the city and be near nature, be on the lake, be where I could walk and swim and enjoy it because I just felt that's what I wanted to do for my future. So, yes, so that was my story of A&E, going to A&E and how that panned out. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to your comments. Please comment on the vlog when you're done with this. Please go and like the video now if you haven't already. And as I say, if you watch any of my videos, you can go and watch my videos on Italy and, I don't know, traveling, my garden. This is a lovely, very refreshing cologne that I love from Gianfranco Freire. It's an Italian iconic thing. Just keeps you fresh. And isn't it lovely to have a bit of cologne when you're feeling so hot and bothered in summer? Yeah, I'm loving all my blues here. Let me know if you love hydrangeas and agapanthus. I adore them. And my house is always covered in roses in May, June. But July, the roses are going off already, and I'm getting towards hydrangeas. But yes, so that's what we're going to be covering on the vlog every week. On a Sunday, we're going to get together, we're going to discuss general things. What I want to say is I generally shy away from talking about stuff that, one, for me, isn't that good to talk about, just because it divides people, and I'm here for us to have fun and get together and talk about whatever you want to talk about. My life in Italy, lots of people ask about my life in Italy because they want to retire here, or they're interested, or they just like traveling to Italy. So, you know, that's a large part of the blog. But recently I noticed on some of the Facebook groups and on Instagram that people are very, very, very aggravated about the political situation in America, in England, in UK, even France recently had elections. I don't like this division, and dear friends that have been friends all their lives, family members have fallen out over politics. I don't know how you feel about this, but I have opinions like everyone else. I don't feel I should thrust those opinions on my audience because people have joined me through the years. My subscribers have joined me for different things. I usually cover my life in Italy, but during the pandemic, we spoke about lots of things. I talk about what I'm eating, where I'm going, just, stuff, my life, my lifestyle, what I love, which is gardening, flowers. I have lots of hobbies. I love antique markets and participate in them. So that's my Italian life, and that's what I talk about on the vlog. But, sometimes people pop up and say, well, have you seen what happened in the States with Biden or Trump? Or have you seen what's going on in UK with the migrant situation and the election which just took place, which resulted in the Labour Party coming in? And I just think everybody's entitled to their opinion. Some people are obviously more schooled than others. Some people are more educated than others in the particular subject they're talking about. But I don't know that you really want to come on YouTube and find out my opinion about what's happening politically. Let me know if you agree. Drop down in the chat and let me know. I'm not going to cover political events, so if you were hoping that I would comment on that, I mean, we had an election here in Italy about 2 or 3 years ago. That was pretty dramatic, and lots of people went down the rabbit hole with that. I don't want to be a political commentator, and so I steer clear of it. On the same way, speaking about people's personal views, their religion, their spiritual beliefs, these are things that are personal to everybody. I have no qualms in telling you that I'm a spiritual person, that I believe in living a life of meaning, but I'm not going to force my opinions or my beliefs on anybody on the vlog. When it comes to food, however, and all the good things in life, like cooking and traveling and enjoying the lovely European culture, I'm more than happy to talk about that, and I always do. But it struck me as so sad how people were falling out and actually becoming arch enemies and blocking people on Facebook and taking people out of the groups, and the terrible arguments within the Facebook groups about people's beliefs, their belief system, and their beliefs on various things. And obviously people have different support different parties, support different ideologies. But anyway, so that was just an aside to let you know. Let me know down in the chat what you want to discuss. I have lots of interesting stuff upcoming in the weeks. Today I posted a video on the triathlon that took place in our town. It was 112.9 kilometer triathlon. It was lovely. I couldn't do the swim. I wanted to do the swim because they have a what's the right word? Simultaneously, they have the swim, which is a 1.9 kilometer swim across from our town, across the lake to Lombardia, and it's called Attraversata, and I've always wanted to do that, but I couldn't this year because of my accident, but I certainly will next year. And if you want to join me, let me know. Let me know on the blog if you're in Lombardia or if you're in Italy. I'm really looking forward to doing that swim. But this triathlon was 112.9 kilometers, which was made up of 90 kilometers cycle, 21 kilometers of running, and then 1.9 of the swim. So I got together at the final with those that were throwing themselves in the lake after this 112-kilometer triathlon they'd done. And it was really lovely to see some of the Italian champions and what they'd done. So that video is up. You can go and have a look at that, a little slice of my life here. And yes, so I'm going to carry on with my health program. I'm going to carry on with my OMAD, eating 1 meal a day. Quite often I will put up a recipe or something that I've eaten as a short video. So if you like that sort of content, please go and have a look. And yeah, I put up, various things during the week that I'm covering. And if you like to see food and that sort of stuff, that's great. Thank you for joining wherever you've joined from. I really enjoy connecting with you on a weekly basis. And as I say, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Please go and like the video, or you can like it anytime when you watch it back. And leave me your comments. I need your questions. I want some suggestions as to what I should do about the eating situation. If you do intermittent fasting or you've discovered something that works for you, I'm always open to your tricks and tips and suggestions. And I hope you've enjoyed this evening as we've got together. And let me have your comments in the chat. Or please leave me a comment. I always welcome a comment. I've done some research that only about 70% of the people who regularly watch me are subscribed. I would really love you to subscribe. It doesn't hurt. It's free. I make this content for you guys. And obviously, I enjoy doing it. And I would really hope that perhaps if you're watching a video, if you just want to tap the screen while my face is on or whatever you're watching, that shows YouTube that there's engagement and there's people watching, and that means my videos will come up higher in the search, and that you'll be able to find me if you're looking for content on Italy or lifestyle or the stuff that I cover. And yeah, I hope that you will just, tap on the screen, and it doesn't cost anything to do that, and it does really help me with the channel. So thank you very much for that. So I will be returning to my swimming program within a week. The lifeguard that I spoke about, I'll just give you this little story as we end, so we finish on time. He said to me as I was swimming, and he introduced me to his family, whatever, and he's watched me swim for the last 3 months. He said to me one day, we were chatting about various things. He asked me how old I was, and I told him. And he's 10 years younger than me. And he said to me, why don't you tell people that you're 55? And I said, because I'm not. And he said, but you look 55. You look 10 years younger than you are, because I'm 66 this year. And I said, but why would I do that? I don't want to pretend to be younger than I am. I'm really proud of what I've achieved, and I'm really proud that I'm my age and healthy, and I'm happy, and my life has been lived, and I've never had plastic surgery. I don't want to have plastic surgery. I accept myself as I am, and I always believe that you need to believe in yourself and be happy, and I'm happy, and I live the best lifestyle that I can. Of course, I'm not without sin. I, like everyone else, I like the odd wonderful gelato and a nice cake and lovely lashings of lasagna and all that delicious stuff. But he said, why don't you... He said, you shouldn't tell anybody your age. You should tell them. And it started me thinking on the way home, why as women are we constantly reminded that the progress of age, getting older, is something to be avoided and something to be cheated. And I'm really proud of my age, and I want to know from you in the comments. Tell me how you handle this kind of stuff. Maybe you're in the dating scene. I'm not. But maybe you're in the dating scene and you feel that you want to understate your age by 10 years or 5 years or whatever you think you can get away with. What would be your reason for that? And should we really be doing that? And it made me think, why are we conditioned as women to not accept our age? And yeah, so that's just a little thought, and we can talk about it more next week in the vlog. So I want to know your comments down. Let me know down there what you think about this. Should we as women embrace our age, be proud of it? I'm happily single. I love my life. I wouldn't want it any other way. I've had an enormously interesting life. I've had lots of challenges. My life in Italy has been far from easy. I've had big ups, big downs. I've been through all sorts of trauma and all sorts of stuff in Italy. And perhaps, we'll cover some of it in the vlog if you guys need to chat about various subjects. But I want to talk about being a little bit older as a woman and what it means, and your lifestyle, and how you keep yourself happy, and all the things you want to share with me, whether that means that you travel a lot, you eat healthy, or you just like to indulge, and you can because you have a metabolism that helps you to lose weight. Okay, so I'll leave you with that deep thought of, should we as women always own our age and be proud of it? And I'll see you next week, same time, back here on the vlog. And I hope you'll join me. And let's just have another spritz of this very fresh Chanel mist. Lovely. So thanks for joining. I'm going to have a sip of my iced water. I'm going to say goodbye now for me and my blue flowers, and see you on the next one. Love to have you. Love all the input. Thanks for all the lovely comments. See you next week, next time. And I'll probably be as sweaty as I am today. I definitely need a haircut. So see you soon. And ciao. Ciao for now. Bye. See you on the next one. Join me next week. And let me know in the comments what you thought of today. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye. Thanks so much. Bye.